Here's a short story that I heard from Rabbi Mendel Futafas. My one had a big influence on my life. Rabbi Mendel Futafas. He was like 7 years in Siberia in exile. So he said, he told me, directly the story that his wife, the prisoners that were in Siberia, they could receive packages from their families. Of course, the packages would be inspected and things would be stolen from the packages. But generally speaking, if they they caught the inspectors stealing anything, that they would be punished. So there was some sort of something to curtail them a little bit from stealing things. In any case, his wife would send him matzot before Passover. Now the guards wouldn't steal matzot. What do they care about matzot? They steal matzot. So she would send him matzot before Passover. Who knows how long it would take from the time she sent it until it got there, but nevertheless it would send. It happened that one Passover, this is what he told me, one Passover, that matzot did not arrive. They did not arrive. So for whatever reason it was, that whole Passover, he only drank water and he ate sugar, the things of sugar. Maybe he ate some raw vegetables or something. I don't exactly know. But in any case, he did not have matzah. And when the Seder night came, he wasn't able to do it because he didn't have matzah. You can't. So he did whatever he could. He said sentences from the Torah about going out of Egypt, which that's sufficient to do the commandment of talking about going out of Egypt the night of Passover. He didn't have a Haggadah, but he, whatever he remembered, he said that's good enough. That fulfills the commandment, but didn't have matzah. So he said a few weeks after Passover, the matzah arrived. So the first thing that he did is that he took one full matzah and he broke it up and he wrapped it up in newspaper and he put it in his pocket. And he said the whole time that he was in Siberia, the whole rest of the time, maybe the 5 years, whatever, the remaining time that he was there, he always had this matzah in his pocket. Always. He always had it in his pocket constantly. The matzah. What he did on Shabbat, I don't know. Maybe he sewed it in so it was like part of his garment. However it was, he said that all the time he carried this matzah. Maybe on Shabbat he hid it because you're not allowed to carry things on Shabbat. Or maybe he was allowed to keep Shabbat. It could be that he was allowed to keep Shabbat. I think I told you the story before that they gave him a certain permission because he did a favor for them. So in any case, he said that the whole 5 years, the whole time that he was there in Passover, he kept this matzah wrapped up in newspaper in his pocket. And the next year when matzah came, so he would change it. But he was so afraid that that was his big, they say, the most torturous thing that happened wasn't that he didn't have any food, but they didn't have any matzah. And the whole time, the whole rest of the year, he kept the matzah in his pocket, just with the worry that maybe matzah Pesach would come and he wouldn't have matzah. It happened once, it could happen again. So this is showing us how a person can constantly be aware of the reason that I'm here is to do what God wants. And one big important thing that God wants is for me to eat matzah on Passover. So everything I can do in order to assure that I can do the most for the Creator, the better. Now, if you think about this, it sort of really doesn't make sense. Why? Because the reason that he was thrown into Siberia was because he was a religious Jew. True, there's another 49 million people that were killed and they weren't Jews. But nevertheless, the reason he was sent in was ostensibly because he was a Jew and a religious Jew. Right? That was the only reason that they could pin on him, because he was a religious Jew. So he should have been angry at God. Come on, I'm doing what you want, God. This is a reward. I'm still put into Siberia. He didn't think about that at all. He thought about, listen, So there's another story that's told about him, Reb Mendel Futavas, that he was sitting with two other prisoners and they were crying. And he asked them, "Why are you crying?" And one said, "I used to be a big doctor and I was the head of a whole hospital. Look at me now. I have nothing. Everything was taken from me." And the other one said, "The reason I'm crying is because I used to be a rich man. I used to have a whole factory. He had hundreds of workers under me. Now I've got nothing." So Reb Mendel said, "That made me happy. Why? Because before I was taken in, I used to be a Chassid, and now I'm still a Chassid. I'm serving God wherever I am. This is where I was put. I have to serve God. Have a good day with Mashiach now. God willing, we'll meet each other on Sunday at 8 o'clock in the morning. The clock has changed over here. So now the clock has moved forward 1 hour. So whatever time it used to be over there, it's now you have to adjust it according to what the time is now in Israel. So now it starts at the clock starts at 8 o'clock, the new time. So it went back an hour by you. So I think we're 6 hours difference. Shabbat Shalom with Mashiach.